So today we're going to look at the pectoralis major and minor muscles within the human body. Now let's start by looking at pectoralis major muscle. Now the pectoralis major is a large fan-shaped muscle that covers the upper chest. It originates from the clavicle, the sternum and cartilage of the upper ribs, extending out to insert onto the humerus. And it inserts onto the crest of the greater tubercle of the humerus. Now this muscle is primarily responsible for movements such as adduction, flexion and medial rotation of the shoulder joint. It plays a key role in bringing the arm across the body and performing pushing movements. Now how do you remember all of this information? So for attachments and actions, you can use the acronym CSCA, clavicle, sternum, and costal cartilage inserting onto the arm. So remember that it inserts into the greater tubercle of the humerus, so the crest of it. How do you remember the movements? So you can just use FAM, so it flexes, adducts and medially rotates. And you can use that to remember how this muscle moves. So let's look at the pectoralis minor muscle. So this muscle is it's a triangle kind of shaped muscle located underneath the pectoralis major. Now it originates from the 3rd to the 5th rib and it inserts on the corticoid process of the scapula. Now this muscle helps stabilize the scapula by pulling it anteriorly and inferiorly against the thoracic wall. It also assists in elevating the ribs during deep inhalation when the scapula is fixed. So how do you remember all of this? So let's remember its origin and insertion. You can use R3C. So it inserts into the ribs 3 to 5 and an insertion point on the corticoid process of the scapula. How do you remember its actions? So you can use something, an acronym or a thing called a PDF. So it pulls the scapula down and forward. Now remembering muscles, origin, insertion and actions can be quite difficult. So here are a few easy ways to remember pec major and minor. So you can visualize the location. So picture the pec major as a large shield covering the chest, connecting from the clavicle and sternum to the arm. And picture the pectoralis minor as a small support beam running from the ribs to the scapula. Now I put hand movements down, so think about, for pec major, mimic a hugging motion or crossing the arms in front of the body to recall its role in adduction and flexion. For pectoralis minor, think of the action of pressing down or stabilizing a shoulder bag on your chest to visualize its scapular movements. Now remember, things like big muscles move arms, small muscles steady the shoulder. So to tell the difference between major, big, and for arm movements, and minor, small, and for scapular stabilizations. And then remember CSCA and R3C for remembering the points of attachment.